Question number 9, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Education. Does she stand by her statement that we need to review the way we fund schools and focus more on outcomes rather than blunt proxy?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker.
Tēnā koe.
Yes.
Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Will she rule out funding increasing or decreasing based on student achievement data? If not, why not?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr. Speaker, no, because we're at the very early stages of the process, and so I don't want to predetermine outcomes.
Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
If she won't rule that out, how can such a system work without either punishing schools whose results improve or rewarding schools whose results get worse?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr. Speaker, we're at the very early stages of the review. We want to explore what our options are. We want to do that with the sector, and we'll take the necessary time to do it.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Point of order, Chris Hipkins.
Mr. Speaker, it was a very specific question about how the system would work without punishing or rewarding schools. The Minister didn't even address it.
I'm going to invite the question to be asked again, but one of the difficulties I had is I couldn't hear all of the question and I couldn't hear the answer because of the interjection, particularly from my right-hand side. It has to cease.
Thank you. If she won't rule out, so supplementary, if she won't rule out how...
Order! No, just a minute. Order. To the Honourable Paula Bennett, that is your final warning for question time today. Now, Chris Hipkins.
Supplementary. If she won't rule that out, how can such a system work without either punishing schools whose results improve or rewarding schools whose results get worse?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr. Speaker, the member's question is predicated on a view he already has, regardless of my answer. I have said that we are not ruling anything in or out at this stage because we're at such an early stage. So to then go on and answer a question he's made on the basis of different answer would be to obviate the original answer I gave.
So it was based on her answer. Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I'll just wait for a bit of silence. Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, how will she ensure that any move to shift funding from deciles to the risk profile of the individual children doesn't result in the stigma associated with deciles shifting from the schools to the individual children?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr. Speaker, again, the member's question is based on his view about where money will shift from and to. No decisions have been made in that regard at this point. Oh, the newspaper might say that, but I am saying what I am saying.
Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker.
Order. 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 Chris Hipkins,
Supplementary question. Why is the government considering basing school funding on Treasury's risk profiling model when the Treasury's own analysis found that up to half the children who experience poor outcomes have none of those risk factors in their lives, while a third of those who are deemed to be at risk don't have poor outcomes?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really pleased that the member's taken the time to acquaint himself with the detailed work that we're doing. And of course, we will take advantage of all the rich material we have to consider the options that might present themselves that may result in a change at some time in the future, but we're not yet at that place.
Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How will the government establish the qualification levels of parents if they decide to incorporate that into the school funding system, as proposed in the paper this morning that she was quoted in? Will parents have to bring their CVs along when they enrol their kids at school?
The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr. Speaker, the member might like to reflect on the time he spent as advisor to a former Minister of Education when the decile system was introduced and where the qualifications of the family are included in the mesh block that the census uses on which we calibrate.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, it's a very poor reflection on the Honourable Dr. Lockwood Smith to suggest that a primary school kid could have been in his
resume his seat. He knows the rules better than most. If he wants to raise a point of order, he should do so. Supplementary question, Chris
Supplementary question. Why should New Zealanders have confidence in her ability to introduce a new funding system when she's botched other similar projects like Novaplay and has allowed the level of donations collected from parents to increase by over 30% since National came to office.
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, for every $100 that the taxpayer pays to fund our education system, parents pay $1.80. That makes up a very small part of our education vote, and that is a choice that parents make. Moreover, Mr Speaker, earlier in the House today, we heard that achievement in schools, in particular in NCEA 2, but also including participation in early childhood, has all gone up under this government.
Question number 10, Julianne Genter.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.